Now, I know when you retire, you want to have the most fulfilling, fun next chapter of your life. And I'm going to suggest to you to rethink 5 major purchases if you're considering them. If you have started your retirement or you're thinking about retirement, you know that you have worked very hard to get to where you are today. The last thing you want to do is make some major purchases that quickly turn out to be big financial headaches. After all, every dollar counts. So, the first major purchase I want to talk to you about today is whether or not to buy a boat. My husband and I love to fish, and I come from a family where we have always had a boat. And my dad has always had a boat. And anytime he wanted to go out on the boat and he would ask me, absolutely, I was all in. And I learned a lot about boating, about boats, maintenance of boats. Like my dad had me cleaning spark plugs, gapping spark plugs, and making sure that we had all the tools we needed in case we had an engine failure. Now, I know about some of the finances and some of the repair and the maintenance that comes along with owning a boat. And I learned that all at the age of about 16. I was a teenager when I started learning about boats. I could drive a boat before I had a license to drive a car. Now, there's a lot more to owning a boat besides the repair, the finances. There's also depreciation, there's docking, there's insurance, there's fuel, general keep up. But most of all, I always remember the repairs. Like my father was a fix it kind of guy. When he wasn't working, he was underneath the car fixing something. He was tearing apart the engine for the boat. He was turning over lawnmowers to help neighbors fix their lawnmowers. Now, I don't come with those skills, and my husband doesn't come with those skills. So we just know that spending money on a boat was not the right investment for us. And I would suggest that you consider that it might possibly not be the best investment for you. Now, the word boat just means break out another $1,000. And I know that my parents didn't have that kind of money, but my dad was able to make it work. And I just don't think I can make it work. Take a look at me. I am in my 60s and I am not ready to take on the challenges of having a boat. I just feel like there's so much more to life to enjoy than to have a hobby or a lifestyle of spending every weekend on the boat, knowing what comes along with it, the repair work, the storage. And I don't believe that engines are the same way. Like, I don't think knowing how to change a spark plug is going to keep me from an engine failure out on the ocean. Somehow, I think the wisdom of my youth doesn't transfer into the wisdom of being a senior. So, I'm not going to own a boat. I am going to rent a boat and I'm going to go fishing. For sure, I'm not giving that up. And my husband and I do go fishing. We go out on a charter boat and we have a blast. It's just something we're not going to give up, but we are not going to purchase a boat. So, the second major purchase that I'm going to recommend is not to buy a motorhome. Now, with that said, my dad, my mom had a motorhome, and when they retired, they went cross country. And again, my dad just had that set of skills that allowed them to take on those challenges of the repair work, the storage, and whatever else came along with owning a motorhome. I don't have those set of skills. I still just don't have it. And I'm okay with staying in a hotel. I did a whole lot of camping when I was a kid, and I just know what it means. And I enjoyed it so much. I really did. But I feel like owning a motorhome or RV or that type of lifestyle, I did it and I enjoyed it. I really did love it. And we did it as a family thing, and that's the way we spent our vacations. Now, my husband and I just prefer to stay in a hotel as we travel. But I do think that if you are going to live the lifestyle of living in an RV, that is a great solution. Like that tiny house living, or just taking your motorhome and going every 3 months or 6 months from one location to another location. I think there is some value to that. But the luxury model of taking your RV on a weekly vacation is just something to consider. Maybe that investment is too big for the value you're going to get out of it. The insurance, the depreciation, again, just like owning a boat. Adding a large debt to our budget right now just doesn't seem to make sense. And overall, that's what this video is about, is really to think about how you're investing your money and getting the best return out of it. And sometimes major purchases, such as a boat or a motorhome, needs more thinking. The third purchase is about taking out loans. And I've talked in my videos several times about becoming debt free and paying off all your loans. To take a large loan can quickly lead to unmanageable debt. The high interest of credit cards is particularly dangerous. It accumulates rapidly and it takes years to pay off. It also makes saving more difficult, especially in retirement. If you are taking on any credit card debt, one of the things that we try to do is to manage it so that we can pay it off every month. To take any more debt on that is higher than what we can pay off always takes a second look. It always takes more consideration because we want to have a stronger position for our financial future. Now, the fourth major purchase is a timeshare. Now, that is something that my husband and I never invested in, and it was also something my family and his family never invested in. When we go on a vacation, it's usually for a week, and we live within our means. We don't have a timeshare that's on our payroll. There's a lot of upfront costs, there's annual maintenance, and there's limited flexibility. And that's the thing that really got us about a timeshare, is we didn't have a whole lot of flexibility with our time off. If you've ever had children or do have children right now, you know that your window is during the time of when they have time off of school. And that's when we took our vacations. Now we have a whole lot more time to take vacations, and we can plan it with a whole lot more flexibility, but we're still not going to consider taking on a timeshare. If anything, we will go to an Airbnb. I feel like that's almost an equivalent to having a timeshare. And those Airbnbs don't lock us in. We can travel affordably without locking us into long-term financial commitments. Now, the fifth I put in as a major purchase because I feel like it can turn into a major purchase if you're not watching your finances. And those are subscription services. I feel like everybody's trying to get on my payroll lately. In the past, it seemed to be things like the Danbury Mint, the Bradford Exchange. Everybody was collecting something like plates and Hummels or dolls. And when you subscribe to something like that, it means that you're on your payroll. And to do it over a long period of time, it just adds up. And that's why I added it to these 5 major purchases. Nowadays, it's a little different. It's not the collector's plates. It's not the figurines. It's not Ladro. It's not uncirculated coins. Nowadays, it's like fab, fit, fun. You can subscribe for wine, you can subscribe for jerky, you can subscribe for hot sauce, and all these things just add up, and somebody is trying to target you. And that's my advice to you, is to try to understand when you're being targeted and when someone wants to come on your payroll. Now, I am all for having a paycheck because I want to have fun, but I don't want to have the subscription services where something shows up on my door that I would enjoy, but I would enjoy in the short term. I want to have things in my life that I enjoy for the long term. And those are experiences and those are adventures. And to have things that are materialistic, my frame of mind is more towards getting rid of some of those things I've collected over the years, some of those things that take up space, some of those things that my daughter does not want. And that makes me consider how I'm spending my money and how my husband and I are spending our money to make sure we are getting what we want out of who comes on our payroll. Now, some of the things we will spend money on to get someone on our payroll is like a financial advisor, our accountant, someone who can help us make good decisions on how we are spending our money in the future. I hope that it will help you rethink how you are spending your money in the next chapter of your life. Whether you're a baby boomer or a Gen Xer, consider not taking on those big expenditures, the things that are going to affect your budget for a long term, that may disrupt your financial security. There are other options out there that might just be just as satisfying. Thanks for following along, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.